Hey everyone, and welcome! Ready to tackle one of the most important topics for your 2026 ICSE exams? Today, we're diving deep into the Union Legislature of India, and trust me, by the end of this, you're going to have a really solid grip on how our country's laws are made. You'll be totally prepped for any questions that come your way.
So what is the Union Legislature, really? Well, to put it simply, it's the Parliament of India. It's the supreme lawmaking body for the entire country. Just imagine it as the central hub where all the rules that govern our lives are debated, shaped, and finally made into law.
So here's how we're going to break it all down, and this is perfectly lined up with your syllabus. We'll kick things off with the big picture, what our federal system is all about. Then we'll zoom right into the two houses of parliament, explore what they can actually do. And then we'll wrap it all up by walking through the pretty cool journey of how a bill becomes a law.
Okay, before we jump into the nitty-gritty of Parliament itself, we got to take a step back. We need to understand the basic structure of our government. How is power actually organized in a country as big as India? Let's find out.
So, India has what's called a federal system. Now, don't let that term scare you. It's actually a pretty simple idea. Think of it like a huge family. You've got the parents, that's the central government, who have certain big responsibilities. But then you have the older kids, the state governments, who also have their own duties and a bit of freedom. It's all about sharing power to create balance.
So how does the Constitution make sure this whole federal thing actually works? Well, it sets up four key features. You have that dual government system, a really clear division of powers, an independent judiciary to act as a kind of referee, and bicameralism, which is just a fancy way of saying a parliament with two houses. And that right there is our main focus for today.
All right, now that we've got the big picture, let's dive into the heart of it all. It's time to meet the first, and you could argue, the most powerful house of our parliament, the Lok Sabha. You'll also hear it called the House of the People, and for good reason.
543. That's not just some random number. It's a really important one. It represents the 543 members of parliament, or MPs, in the Lok Sabha. And every single one of them is directly elected by us, the citizens of India. That's exactly why it's called the House of the People. It's meant to be a direct reflection of what the nation wants.
So, what does it take to become a member of the Lok Sabha? Well, the requirements are pretty straightforward. You've got to be an Indian citizen, be at least 25 years old, be a registered voter, and you can't hold another government job that could cause a conflict of interest. That age requirement is key, though. It's there to make sure our lawmakers have a certain level of maturity and life experience.
Okay, let's switch gears and turn our attention to the second House of Parliament, the Rajya Sabha. If the Lok Sabha is the voice of the people, then you can think of the Rajya Sabha as the voice of the states and union territories.
The Rajya Sabha can have a maximum of 250 members, but this is where it gets really interesting. 238 of them are elected by the state legislative assemblies, but the other 12, they're actually nominated by the President of India. And these aren't just any 12 people. They're usually distinguished individuals from fields like art, literature, science, or social service. It's a way to bring a ton of different expertise right into our lawmaking process.
Now, the qualifications for the Rajya Sabha are pretty similar to the Lok Sabha, but there's one really important difference. Did you spot it? The minimum age is 30. So, why the higher age limit? Well, the Rajya Sabha is meant to be a more mature, more experienced body, a council of states that can take a second, more sober look at all the laws being passed.
Okay, this slide is a goldmine. You'll definitely want to pause and take this in, because it sums up the key differences beautifully. Notice how the Lok Sabha has a 5-year term and can be dissolved, meaning we could have early elections. The Rajya Sabha, though, it's a permanent house. It never dissolves. Its members get a 6-year term, and a third of them retire every 2 years. And don't forget who's in charge: the Speaker for the Lok Sabha and the Vice President of India for the Rajya Sabha.
So we know who the members of parliament are, and we know how they get there. But the really big question is, what do they actually do? Let's dig into the incredible powers that our parliament holds. As you can see from this chart, parliament wears a lot of different hats. Its main job, of course, is making laws. But it also has a super tight grip on the country's money, it keeps the government in check, and it even plays a part in our judicial and electoral systems, like when it elects the president and vice president.
The Constitution gives a pretty clear roadmap for who makes which laws. The Union List is for subjects of national importance, things like defense and foreign policy, and only Parliament can make laws on these. The Concurrent List, though, has subjects like education and criminal law, where both the center and the states can make laws. But, and this is a crucial point, if there's ever a conflict between a central law and a state law on one of these subjects, the central law always wins. All right, everyone, get your mental highlighters out because this right here is a massive exam flash moment. This one sentence is the absolute key to understanding Parliament's financial power. The government cannot spend a single rupee or raise a single tax without getting Parliament's okay first. This is often called the power of the purse, and it's the ultimate way to keep the government accountable to the people.
Now, even though the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are partners, they're not exactly equals in every single way. Each house has its own special powers, and these are a really hot topic for exams. The Lok Sabha, because it's directly elected, has the final word on all money matters and can even bring down the entire government with something called a no-confidence motion. The Rajya Sabha, on the other hand, has this unique power where it can allow Parliament to make laws on subjects that are normally just for the states.
And finally, let's pull back the curtain and watch the incredible journey of how a simple idea gets transformed into a law that affects every single one of us.
This whole step-by-step process is there to make sure every law is thought through really carefully. So, after a bill is introduced, it goes through a few readings. Now, the second reading is where the real action is. Every single clause is debated, picked apart, and can even be changed. Once a bill passes in one house, it gets sent over to the other house to go through the exact same tough process. Only after both houses agree does it go to the president for the final signature, which is when it officially becomes an act of parliament.
So, as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with a little something to think about. We've gone through the whole structure, the powers, and the processes of our union legislature. But the real challenge, and the interesting part, is to think critically about how this complex system actually works in the real world to represent the dreams and hopes of over 1 billion people. I mean, that's what democracy is all about, right? Keep asking questions, keep learning, and good luck with your studies.